Welcome to the Playing Books podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving deep into James Clear's Atomic Habits. And this isn't just, a summary.
No, not at all.
We want to really dig into the core insights, figure out how these tiny changes he talks about can actually lead to some pretty remarkable results for you.
We'll be pulling out the stories, the quotes that stick with you, and those really practical strategies Clear presents.
Exactly. The mission here is to make these powerful ideas accessible, useful, something you can, start applying right away.
And it's fascinating where these ideas even came from. James Clear's journey itself is quite a story.
It really is. He wasn't always this habit guru, right?
Not initially, no. A lot of it stems from a really severe injury he had playing baseball. A freak accident, really.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, hitting the face with a bat.
That's the one. And the recovery was incredibly long and difficult. He had to focus on these minuscule improvements, just tiny steps to regain basic functions.
So that was his firsthand lesson in the power of small gains.
Absolutely. It wasn't abstract for him. He lived it. That experience really formed the bedrock for his later work.
And from there, he started, just taking notes for himself?
Pretty much. Personal notes on his own habit experiments. Then, in November 2012, he decided to start sharing these thoughts publicly on his website, jamesclear.com.
Just started writing articles?
Twice a week, consistently, every Monday and Thursday. That consistency itself is kind of an atomic habit, isn't it?
Good point. And it built momentum.
It really did. Within a few months, he had his first 1,000 email subscribers. Fast forward to the end of the next year, and it was over 30,000.
Wow. That shows that compound interest idea he talks about applied to building an audience.
Exactly. And it was organic growth, built on providing steady value. By 2014, it was over 100,000 subscribers. He sort of became this voice on habits, almost while learning alongside his readers.
I think people connect with that authenticity. He wasn't just preaching from on high.
Totally agree. So then, 2015, he's got this huge following, around 200,000 people.
And that leads to the book deal.
Yep. Leading to Atomic Habits, the book you can grab today. And naturally, that opened doors for him to speak at major companies, sharing these ideas about habit formation and continuous improvement.
All stemming from that injury and those consistent small writing efforts.
Which loops us right back to that core theme. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
Say more about that. It's such a central metaphor.
Well, think about money. Small amounts invested regularly, they grow exponentially over time, right? Habits work the same way. Improving by just 1% each day, it sounds tiny.
Almost insignificant.
Right. But compound that over a year and the result is huge. Or, conversely, tiny bad habits. A little bit of debt. A slightly poor diet decision each day, they accumulate into serious problems.
Like with weight or knowledge or finances, as you said. Those daily choices stack up.
You really do. But it also explains why it's so easy to get discouraged, doesn't it?
Definitely. We don't always see the results right away.
And that's where Clear introduces the plateau of latent potential.
Ah, yes, the ice cube analogy. I love this one.
It's a great illustration. You're heating an ice cube, say it's at 25 degrees. You add heat, it goes to 28, 30, 31.
Still looks like ice. Nothing seems to be changing.
Exactly. It feels like your effort is wasted.
Yeah.
You might be tempted to just give up, but all that energy isn't lost. It's being stored in the ice.
Building up potential.
Right. And then, boom, you hit 32 degrees and it starts melting. The change happens seemingly suddenly.
But it was all that accumulated effort below the surface that made it possible. Like bamboo growth or tectonic plates building pressure.
Precisely. So when you feel like you're working hard on a new habit but not seeing results, remember that plateau. You might just be storing potential energy about to break through.
Understanding that is crucial for sticking with it, isn't it? Pushing through the frustration.
Absolutely. Which leads nicely into another key distinction Clear makes. Focusing on systems versus goals.
Okay. We're always told to set goals, right?
Yeah.
Smart goals, big goals.
We are, but Clear argues that focusing only on goals can be problematic. For one, it can restrict happiness.
How so?
Well, the typical goal mindset is, once I achieve X, then I'll be happy. You're constantly pushing happiness off into the future.
Yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap. Always waiting for the next milestone to feel satisfied.
We all do it. Clear says true. Lasting improvement comes from fixing the systems, the processes that lead to our results, not just focusing on the outcome.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about a messy room. Your goal might be clean the room. You achieve it, great. But if you don't have a system for keeping things tidy, putting things away daily, regular cleaning, it'll just get messy again.
So the system is the habit of regular tidying, not just the one-off goal of a clean room.
Exactly. Winners and losers often have the same goals, he points out. What differentiates them is their systems.
That makes sense. And goals can feel very binary. Either you hit it or you fail.
Right, that all or nothing thinking. A systems approach is about continuous improvement, enjoying the process itself. You're always winning as long as your system is running.
I like that. Less pressure, more focus on the day-to-day.
And this connects perfectly to what might be the most profound idea: identity-based habits.
Okay, tell me about this one.
Clear suggests our behaviors are often just a reflection of our identity, who we believe we are deep down. Every action we take is like a vote for the type of person we want to become.
So it's not just I want to exercise, it's I want to be the kind of person who exercises.
Precisely. It shifts the focus inward. Instead of striving for an outcome, you're cultivating an identity.
And does identity actually drive behavior that strongly?
The research suggests it does. He uses the example of voting. People who identified as being a voter were significantly more likely to vote than those who just saw voting as an action to perform.
Interesting. So tying the habit to your sense of self makes it stickier.
Much stickier. If you see yourself as a healthy person, making healthy choices becomes more natural, less about willpower. It's just who you are.
It feels more intrinsic, less like forcing yourself.
Absolutely. And it's a feedback loop. Your habits shape your identity.
And your identity reinforces your habits.
Exactly. So the ultimate goal isn't just habit change, it's identity change, becoming that person.
That's a powerful framework. So how do we actually build these habits? That's where the 4 laws come in, right?
Yes, this is the practical core, the 4 laws of behavior change. Cue, craving, response, reward. Every habit follows this loop.
Okay, let's break them down. Law 1, make it obvious. What does that involve?
It starts with the cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior.
Yeah.
To build good habits, we need to make their cues obvious in our environment.
How do we do that?
One key technique is using implementation intentions. Be specific about when and where you'll act. Not just I'll meditate, but
I will meditate for 5 minutes at 7 a.m. in my living room.
exactly. That specificity creates a clear cue. Another strategy is habit stacking.
Stacking a new habit onto an existing one.
Right. The formula is, after I current habit, I will new habit. Think about your current routines. Brushing teeth, making coffee, those are solid anchors.
So like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will take my vitamins.
Perfect. You leverage existing automaticity. Clear suggests listeners could even, grab a piece of paper and list their current daily habits to find stacking opportunities.
Good practical tip. What else under make it obvious?
The environment is huge. Remember Kurt Lewin's B equals FPE. Behavior is a function of the person and their environment.
Our surroundings trigger us constantly.
They do. Think about walking into a church versus a noisy bar. The environment cues different behaviors. So we need to design our environment consciously.
Make the cues for good habits unmissable.
Exactly. Keep your running shoes by the door. Put fruit in a bowl on the counter, not hidden in the fridge. Make the desired choice the easy, obvious one.
And hide the cues for bad habits.
Precisely. If you want to watch less TV, maybe put the remote in a drawer. Reduce exposure to the trigger. Visual cues are incredibly powerful.
He also mentions one space, one use.
Yeah, creating distinct environments for distinct activities. He talks about struggling when he worked from his couch work and relaxation blurred.
But having a dedicated office space makes entering that space a cue for work mode.
Right, it primes you for the intended habit. So, make those good cues obvious and visible.
Okay, that's law 1. What about law 2? Make it attractive.
This is about the craving part of the loop. Habits need to be appealing for us to want to do them. How do we increase that appeal?
Good question.
One powerful technique is temptation bundling.
Pairing something you want to do with something you need to do.
Exactly. Like only listen to your favorite podcast while you're exercising. Or only get a pedicure while you catch up on work emails. You link the chore with a treat.
Makes the necessary thing feel less like a drag.
Precisely. Another big factor is social norms. We are heavily influenced by the people around us.
We want to fit in.
Deeply. Clear says we imitate 3 groups in particular: the close, family, friends; the many, or tribe or culture; and the powerful, those with status.
So if our friends all have a certain habit, good or bad,
We're much more likely to find it attractive and adopt it ourselves. He mentions an anecdote about someone saying quitting smoking is hard because it always starts with your friends. Surround yourself with people whose habits you admire.
That makes sense. Choose your influences wisely. Anything else for making habits attractive?
Reframing how you think about them, focus on the benefits, not the burdens.
Like changing, I have to exercise to, I get to move my body.
Exactly that subtle shift. Or seeing distractions during meditation not as failures, but as opportunities to practice returning your focus. Find the positive angle.
It's about mindset management. Okay, Law 3. Make it easy. This seems intuitive.
It does, but there's depth here. It relates to the response part of the habit loop. We gravitate towards actions that require less effort.
The path of least resistance.
Right. But first, Clear warns against getting stuck in motion instead of action.
Motion being planning, researching.
Yeah, learning about doing something rather than actually doing it. We do it because it feels productive, but avoids the potential failure of action.
Like researching workout plans for weeks, but never going to the gym.
Exactly. But habits form through frequency, through repetition, not just time spent thinking about them. You need to actually perform the behavior.
Repetition wires the brain.
It does. So how do we make that repetition easier? Reduce friction.
Friction.
The obstacles, the effort involved. Think about how easy Amazon made shopping or Uber made getting a ride. They drastically reduced friction.
We need to do that for our good habits.
Yes. Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Prep healthy meals on Sunday. Keep your journal and pen on your nightstand. Automate or simplify wherever possible.
Make it effortless to start. Which brings us to the 2-minute rule.
Ah, yes. Deceptively simple, incredibly effective.
The idea is, any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to start.
Exactly. Scale it down. Read before bed becomes read one page. Do yoga becomes roll out my yoga mat.
Just 2 minutes.
Make the very beginning ridiculously easy. You can't really say no to 2 minutes. It's about mastering the art of showing up.
It creates a gateway habit. Once you've started, it's easier to continue.
Precisely. Build the consistency first with the tiny version, then you can expand later. Start small, make it easy.
Okay, that's make it easy. Finally, Law 4, make it satisfying. This targets the reward.
Crucial. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification. We repeat what feels good now.
But good habits often have delayed rewards, right?
Mm.
Like saving money or eating healthy.
Exactly. While bad habits often give an immediate payoff, junk food tastes good now, this mismatch makes sticking to good habits hard. Our brain prioritizes the present moment.
So we need to find ways to make the good habits feel satisfying immediately.
Yes. How? One way is reinforcement. Give yourself a small, immediate reward after completing the habit.
Like what?
Importantly, choose rewards aligned with your desired identity. If you're trying to get fit, rewarding yourself with a giant cake might be counterproductive.
Right. Maybe track your workout, or enjoy a relaxing bath, or transfer a small amount to a savings account specifically for something fun.
Exactly. The reward should reinforce the positive identity. Another huge tool is habit tracking.
Just keeping a record. How does that help?
3 ways, Clear says. 1, it provides visual proof of progress. Seeing a chain of X's on a calendar is motivating.
You don't want to break the chain.
Exactly. 2, it keeps you aware and accountable. And 3, the act of tracking itself, checking the box, can feel like a small, immediate reward.
Like a little dopamine hit for doing the right thing.
Precisely. It closes the feedback loop faster.
Okay, so that's making good habits satisfying. What about making bad habits unsatisfying?
We need to introduce some immediate cost or consequence. An accountability partner is a great way.
Telling someone your goals so they can check in.
Yes. The potential social cost of admitting you didn't follow through can be a powerful, immediate deterrent. He shares that extreme nuclear war example about making consequences immediate and personal.
Right, a stark illustration.
But on a practical level, think about a habit contract.
Like a formal agreement.
Yeah, maybe with a friend or partner, outlining what happens if you stick to your habit and what the penalty is if you don't. He tells a story about a guy who used this successfully with his wife and trainer to lose weight.
So it adds immediate stakes, makes slipping up less appealing right now.
Exactly. Makes the long-term consequence feel more present.
These 4 laws really provide a comprehensive toolkit.
They do. And Clear weaves in other important ideas, too, like playing a game where the odds are in your favor.
Meaning?
Aligning your habits with your natural talents and inclinations. Genes don't determine everything, but they influence what comes easier. Lean into your strength.
Makes sense. Habits are easier to stick with if they feel somewhat natural.
And he tackles boredom, too. Even pros get bored with the routine.
It's not always exciting, even if it's working.
Right. But mastery requires pushing through that boredom.
Mhm.
Professionals stick to the schedule even when they don't feel like it. Amateurs get derailed by lack of novelty.
It requires discipline beyond the initial excitement. He mentions deliberate practice too, right?
Briefly, yeah. Habits are the foundation, but true mastery often requires more than just repetition. It needs conscious reflection and effort to improve, not just go through the motions.
Always looking for that 1% improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all circles back to that North Star identity change. Every habit is evidence, casting a vote for the person you're becoming.
And managing desire is part of satisfaction too. Liking minus wanting.
Yeah, a little touch on Stoic philosophy almost. Finding satisfaction not just by getting more, but by wanting less of what doesn't serve you.
Wow, we've covered a lot. It's such a practical, actionable book.
It really is. And hopefully this deep dive gives you, the listener, some solid takeaways. We definitely encourage you to engage with James Clear himself online. His social media info is in the book. Share your journey.
Absolutely. And if this discussion sparked your interest, we highly, highly recommend grabbing a copy of Atomic Habits. There's so much more detail and nuance in the full text.
Let these ideas really sink in and enhance your life. Maybe think about what stood out most to you today. Is there one small habit, even a 2-minute one, you could start this week?
Mull that over. Maybe even tell someone about it to make it more real.
Great idea.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Plain Books podcast for this exploration of Atomic Habits.
It's been a pleasure.
If you found this valuable, please do follow or subscribe to our show and maybe share it with someone else who's interested in continuous improvement through great books.
We appreciate your support.
We look forward to our next literary adventure with you.